Have you ever made one of those promises to a friend? The kind you know you absolutely have to keep no matter what happens? Well, today, we're jumping into a story about a pact that lasts 2 whole decades and ends with a choice that changes everything. Let's get into the price of a 20-year promise.
Now, this isn't just some nice story about a reunion. Oh no. This story has a twist that's going to make you really stop and think about the clash between friendship, duty, and the kind of painful choices that life sometimes throws at us. It's a real gut punch, so let's just dive right in.
So our story kicks off on a dark city street. There's this man, all by himself, just waiting. He's there because of a promise he made 20 years ago. You have to wonder, what kind of promise is strong enough to last that long?
Okay, picture this. It's late. You're in New York City on a cold, kind of windy night. The streets are pretty much deserted, the shops are all dark. There's just this feeling of anticipation in the air. This is the stage for everything that's about to happen. So, a police officer is walking his beat, and he spots this guy standing in the dark doorway of what used to be a hardware store. He doesn't look shady or lost. He looks like he's waiting for something, or someone, really important. The officer walks over. And this is where the mystery really begins.
And this is where we learn about this absolutely incredible promise. The man's name is Bob, and he explains that 20 years ago to the day, he and his best friend Jimmy Wells swore they'd meet right here, at this exact time, no matter what happened in their lives. I mean, that's a serious testament to their friendship. 20 years is a long time. A lot can happen. And as Bob tells the officer, he and Jimmy went down 2 very, very different paths in life. And this contrast, well, it's totally central to the story's conflict.
I mean, you couldn't find 2 more different paths. Bob took off for the West, chasing his fortune, looking for adventure, and he even admits that the hustle has, changed him. Jimmy, on the other hand, he stayed right here in New York. Bob describes him as the most honest, loyal guy he ever knew. Just a true good man. 2 totally different destinies.
This right here, this shows Bob's incredible faith. Even with thousands of miles and 2 decades separating them, Bob is absolutely certain about one thing: Jimmy's character. He truly believes his friend is a rock in a changing world, and that his loyalty, without a doubt, will bring him here tonight.
So, the first police officer leaves, and Bob is alone again. The minutes are just ticking by. You can feel the doubt starting to creep in. And then, just when he might be giving up hope, a figure appears out of the shadows, walking right towards him. This is it, the moment he's been waiting 20 years for.
I mean, can you imagine being in Bob's shoes? It's almost 10 o'clock. His mind has to be racing. What if Jimmy just forgot? What if he doesn't even live in New York anymore? And then there's the biggest fear of all. What if life changed Jimmy the same way it changed him? The tension is just, wow.
And then, pure relief. A tall man walks up and calls out his name. It's him. They shake hands, and it's like those 20 years just disappear. The promise was kept. Bob's faith paid off. Or did it? Is everything really what it seems?
So they start walking and talking, catching up, and they pass by a brightly lit shop window. And it's right there, in that patch of light, that this happy reunion takes a very sharp turn. The truth is about to come out, and believe me, it is not what you expect.
The light hits the other man's face, and Bob just stops cold. A sudden, chilling feeling washes over him. The man's eyes, his nose, something is fundamentally, deeply wrong. This is not his friend. This is a stranger.
And that is the moment of truth. Bob just says it flat out. You're not my friend. The whole reunion just shatters into a million pieces. That feeling of relief is gone, replaced by confusion and a whole lot of dread.
The tall man doesn't argue. He just reveals he's a plain-clothes police officer, and then he hands Bob a folded note, telling him it's from his old friend Jimmy Wells. And here it is, the story's big twist.
So that note, it lays it all out. The very first cop Bob was talking to, that was Jimmy Wells. He kept the promise. He was there. But the moment he saw his old friend's face, he recognized it from a wanted poster, and he was completely torn. His duty as a cop was at war with his loyalty as a friend. He couldn't bring himself to make the arrest, so he sent another officer to do the job he couldn't bear to do himself.
And this brings us right to the absolute core of the story's dilemma. Jimmy kept his promise to be there, but in doing so, he was faced with this impossible choice. A choice between his personal promise and his professional oath.
Let's just break down the fallout here. Jimmy,
He chose duty over friendship. He kept his oath as an officer, but he lost his friend. And Bob, who was driven by hope and nostalgia, kept his promise, only to lose his freedom. In the end, both men paid an incredibly heavy price for that promise they made 20 years ago.
And that right there is the story's powerful message. Jimmy did what most people would call the right thing. He upheld the law. But making that choice was agonizing. It's just a raw reminder that sometimes the most ethical decision you can make is also the one that hurts you the most, personally. And that's where we have to leave it. The story forces all of us to ask a really tough question. When a deep personal loyalty crashes head-on with a clear professional duty, what do? If you were in Jimmy's shoes, staring at that impossible choice, what would you choose?